Welcome to GBIRL, the podcast looking at the real business world of esports, gaming, and streaming with the people and personalities behind it all. Here is your host, Bill the Conqueror.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. It's time to talk about recovs. It's time to talk about carries. And why is that important? Because it's big business. There are websites out there whose sole purpose of existing is to either have you pay to be carried to a goal, whether it's in Warzone, Apex Legends, or Destiny 2 for that matter, or the other side of that is when you have somebody play your account for you. That's called an account recov. And they usually exist in the PvP realm. Sometimes you have PvE. So you have sites that will do PvE stuff. I know for a fact there's a site out there that I have used, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I have used this site on the PvP side, but there is a site out there called Destiny Outlet. Destiny Outlet. They will log into your Destiny 2 account and run a raid enough times to get you an exotic. And there is definitely conversation in the community, regardless of the game, of the thought process behind carries, behind recovs. And I figured it's about time to have that conversation because I have used recov services and I purchased them from the person that you see on the screen right there. She's a Destiny 2 PvP goddess who I trust and has not let me has not let me down. She is a Miss KD. She does recovs for Destiny 2 PvP, Trials of Osiris, various other things that you need in the Destiny 2 community. And I thought it'd be an interesting conversation to have her on and talk about how PvP players view this. I'm not a hardcore sweat. I do not sweat. I play PvP. Sometimes if I'm in the mood to totally hate myself, I'll play it more. So I figured I would have Miss Katie on to enlighten me about the community. So Miss Katie, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You got it. All right. So we met actually on Twitter. I was not following you at the time, but somebody I think who was following you shared your tweet about doing recovs because
Yes.
yeah, about doing recovs. So you do recovs primarily why right now?
Well, originally I actually started so I have a full-time job.
Right.
And I live alone and support myself. But then I decided that I wanted to go back to school and get a different degree. So I'm taking my computer science degree right now.
Right.
And I'm in my third year and putting myself through school and still having to pay all my bills and stuff like that. It was just, I figured why not stream? Because in my free time that I had, I was playing video games anyway. So I started streaming. And then through streaming, I kind of learned about the whole world, I guess you want to call it, of recovs. And that just seemed to make more sense to me. So I started doing recovs on the weekends for trials, just as a way to support myself as kind of a side income while I'm putting myself through school.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started doing this, and from my experience doing this, I work with a couple people from time to time. It seems like the average price is about $35 per of a flawless, right?
It depends. A lot of the streamers will charge more for that because people if you just go to a generic website, it's mostly $35. If you go to a streamer, especially ones that have a bigger name, they charge a bit more, and that's just because they can get away with that because people want specific people running their account.
Right, and I will I'll admit I have purchased services through Destiny Outlet. They have have a have a have a have a have a pricing structure. It costs more to do a carry than it does to do a recov, because essentially, I mean, if you're not that good of a PvP player like me, if you're kind of hit and miss, you're essentially playing 2-on-3 most of the time.
Yes.
So they will charge more for a carry than they will for a recov, right?
Yes, 100%. Because I actually, when I started streaming, Trials hadn't come back yet, but shortly after, Trials came back, and that's kind of what I did. We're called like service streamers.
Okay.
And I did Trials carries, and it was for the first while when Trials was back, it was pretty easy. Like most weekends, I do like 10 or 15 flawlesses a day because we
Wow.
rarely dropped a card. It was just like really easy. And then as time went on, it became harder because a lot of people lost interest, and the casual players stopped playing. Now to the point where I don't do carries at all. Even if you wanted to pay me to do it, I'm not doing it because it's just not worth my time, because chances are I'm going to spend hours doing it.
Right. And and for you, for the situation that you're in, going to school, I believe you also tweeted out recently that your dog is sick too, right?
Yes, yeah. So my dog recently got diagnosed with cancer,
Wow.
and yeah, he's 12 now, so he's
Okay.
an older dog, but he seemed fine. And then, I mean, I've had him since he was 4 weeks old.
Wow.
I rescued him. So I know him really well, and one night he just didn't come upstairs to bed. Like he sleeps beside me every night,
Mm-hmm.
and he just didn't want to come upstairs, and I was like, ah, that's weird. And then in the morning, he, was acting funny. I tried to feed him, and he just like wasn't really interested, and he normally loves food. So I was like, all right, I'm taking him to the vet. I didn't think it was anything that serious, but when I took him in, apparently he had a tumor on his liver that had burst, and he was like bleeding internally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they rushed him to the vet hospital here, and basically they opened him up, and when they called me, they said like the tumor on his liver is like really close to the artery on his liver, and
Oh,
we
no.
want to put him down because his chances of survival are so low, and the surgery was $8,500.
Ouch.
Yeah, and like at the time, well, because I mean, like with COVID going on right now, I'm not really seeing anybody because I'm also diabetic, so I'm high risk. My parents are both 65, they're high risk. My sister is 8 months pregnant right now, so she's high risk. So like I'm
Wow.
not seeing anybody.
Wow.
And yeah, so at the time, my parents had actually flown down to the States to get their vaccine. And so I was like here alone going through this, and I was like, I am not just gonna, put my dog down in 12 years. Like,
Yeah.
if I can find a way to make it work, I will.
Yeah.
And they did the surgery, and he made it through. They're not sure how because they nicked the artery during the surgery, and he bled out, and he had blood transfusions and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, so he made it through. He's going through chemo right now, but all in all, and then he actually just had pneumonia last week too.
Wow. What a dog.
Yeah.
What a
Oh my
dog.
God. Yeah, you wouldn't even know it too. Like, I mean, this is the first time that he's had chemo, and you can tell because he's not doing too well right now. Like he's
Right.
gotten sick a few times, and you can tell he's like not feeling great. But I guess the more chemo they have, the kind of harder it is. So he's on 3 sessions. They just did an ultrasound. The tumor hasn't come back, which is good because there was a 95% chance that it would return.
Okay.
And at the time, even though he made it through surgery, they only gave him 6 months anyway to
Wow.
live. So, I mean, I'm so thankful that I, decided to go through the surgery, decided to go through the chemo,
Right.
and all that. So far in total, I've spent about $15,000
Holy crap.
um,
Wow.
on him. Yeah. And
Wow.
honestly, I would be like, even if I wasn't doing these recovs, I would still be paying it, and I would just, open a line of credit and be in debt because I'm not going to not pay for my dog. But the recovs have absolutely helped me through this. So I'm so thankful that that this is a thing. I'm so glad that recovs are a thing, and that I'm able to do them.
Okay, and so that brings up a really awesome point right there. Is that Trials of Osiris, you know, Destiny 2 PvP, um, 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 Apex Legends, Warzone. These games have created an economy. Basically, they created a demand for people like yourself who are very skilled at what you do, and there are people who want that loot. There are people who want that stuff, but they don't have the skills to pull it off.
Yeah.
So okay, so from your perspective on the inside, you've played Destiny 2 PvP for a while, both console and PC. And how are these recovs and carries seen on the inside?
You mean by the people that do them?
Yes, yes.
I mean, obviously, it's great. There's a whole there's discords devoted to LFGing for doing recovs and stuff
Right.
like that. So it's always, if you're looking for a team to do recovs, it's pretty easy to find one. Everybody
Okay.
kind of like my close friends will help each other out. Like if I'm doing a recov and they don't have any, they'll help me and I'll try to help them, sort of thing. There's like a whole kind of inner community of people that just do recovs. So and a lot of them, like I myself, I'm obviously older and I'm using it for school and that kind of stuff, but a
Right.
lot of them don't actually have jobs, and they've, they're been out of school for like a year or two and they're trying to figure out what to do with their lives, and this is what they're doing right now. And I think honestly that it's probably better that they're doing this kind of thing than out, causing trouble, I guess I would say.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, I think it's actually good, and I I don't know. I'm so thankful for it. And I just want to clarify, I know you said before that I've been playing it, I'm really good at this game. I would not consider myself very good at this game. I play Trials so much, and like I swear 90% of Trials is like knowledge of, the map,
Right.
that
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of the reason why I'm successful, because if you sit here and say that I'm skilled at the game and all my friends see this, they're gonna laugh at you.
Well, and
I'm not that good.
but see, it is. So there are different skills that you need to be successful at the game, especially if you're in a fire team of 3. And having map knowledge and being able to accurately predict where your opponent probably is, and then having the right gun ready at the right time, pointed at the right spot to be able to shoot them before they shoot you.
Yes.
I mean, I I don't think people understand what kind of thought process that takes. It takes a lot of trial and error, a lot of practice that some people can't pull off. I've been playing Destiny 2 for going on 4 years now, and there are times in PvP and on certain maps, I'll fully admit this, I don't know where they are. I want to think that I know where they are, and where the person might be staying, but the funny thing about the PvP community is they literally will start a solo private match and walk around a map finding weird angles that they can jump to that 90% of players would never expect, just to get the kill. And that is a skill. And so I mean, being good at Destiny 2 PvP, there's a lot to it. And I don't want you to think that I don't want you to think that you're not good at the game, because I wouldn't keep coming back to you if you didn't deliver results. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get my recovs done, but
Right,
I
right.
am not the best in the game. I'm not gonna go hop an attorney and win
Right.
attorney. Do you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
I play a lot of trials, and that's exactly what it is. I guess I would say that it's not. I'm old. Like my reflexes aren't that good. People are gonna shoot me faster than I shoot them. But if I have myself in the position to shoot them faster than they do, because maybe I'm older and wiser, then I got that going for me, sort of thing. So, but it does it does a lot goes into trials, and I guess the thing is, because when I play Destiny, I play Trials, and right now in Trials, the general population is not playing, and it's only, recubs, streamers, or cheaters that are playing. You go into Trials and you don't feel very good about yourself. And then, say for Iron Banner, I hop into an Iron Banner match and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what the general population actually plays like. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not that bad. But then I hop into Trials and I feel terrible about myself for the entire weekend.
And I feel the exact same way. I play Iron Banner. I do okay. I do all right. I'm about a 1.0 to a 1.1 in Iron Banner. But man, I go into Trials and I take 3 steps and bang, I'm done. Like, where the hell was that person and why are they standing right there? How do they notice? And yeah, that style of PvP is its own level of thinking. It's like, it's like those, there are people that say that Trials should be more accessible, and I disagree, because I think you need a place where the great people can be great. If you stick the great people in the standard PvP of Iron Banner, Control, whatever, situations like that just turn into a spam fest where people spam abilities in any direction and they get random kills because there's so many people on the map, right?
Yeah. No, I think Trials should be hard. I think going flawless should be hard. I definitely think that the population should be higher. There should be more people playing, because even a lot of people that are really good don't play right now because there's no incentives and it's full of cheaters. And then on that note too, I mean, the difference when I moved from console to PC, there's a difference. And I still swap every weekend. I do recubs on console and I do recubs on PC, and it plays so different. And sometimes for the first couple matches, if I switch back and forth, it kind of screws me up, because on console it is slow. Like Trials is very slow paced, and on PC it is very fast. It's different world too, just between those two.
It is, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. It's funny that people keep saying they want crossplay. I'm like, I don't think you know what you're getting into with crossplay, especially with PvP, because it's really easy to spot somebody on YouTube, for example, who posts videos of themselves in Trials playing on console, because it just moves slower and you can tell. You can absolutely 100% tell. So so you started your process, you do recuts. So when it comes to doing the recuts, you said when you first started out you would do 10 to 15 per weekend, and let's just say the average price is about $35. So you're making $350 in a weekend when you first started out. Has it changed for you?
Yes, I get more now. But it depends. It really depends on the loot. If it's a bad weekend, like not this weekend, but the last weekend, I think it was, where it was like the fusion or something like that. Like I got, I think 12, and I'm pretty sure a majority of those are just people that they don't care about the loot. They just want to support me because of what my dog's going through right now. Like I'm sure they could care less about the fusion rifle. But I mean, when it was the SMG, the first time the SMG, I think I got like 45 recups that weekend.
45. Yeah. Okay. See, and that goes directly into my next question. Is it seems like to me that the people that do this on a full-time basis, so you start Friday at reset, which for me is 10 o'clock a Pacific time. You start Friday at reset and you pretty much go all the way to a Tuesday before reset. Right?
I don't. Like, I know people that stay up for 24 hours, like, for the first day every weekend, just to be able to get a bunch of recovs done, but like I'm too old for that. I still go to bed around like midnight, but I just wake up really early. Like I wake up at 7 a.m. and I get back on and I start going on Saturday and Sunday. I'm up really early. But the other thing with that is the people that I play with, like one of the person that I play with consistently, he's he's 7 hours ahead of me. So me waking up at 7 a.m. is his afternoon. So that sort of works out. And then the other part about that is I find the cards are easier in the morning because all the sweaty kids who stayed up all night are in bed then. So I've kind of found that, going from 7 a.m. until about 5 p.m. is what I do Saturday, Sunday, and then hopefully I'm done and I don't have to play Monday.
Got it. Now, you said that you did 45 in one weekend, and
yes,
just doing fast math, that's like $1,200 right there. I mean, I can definitely see why people do this full time, quote unquote. I mean, you do that amount in one weekend for 4 straight weekends. That's $4,000, $5,000, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, but it's not like that every weekend. Like I said, that's because it was the Trials SMG and it was the first time it came back. I doubt, unless they bring back maybe the sniper, I don't even know, this season and have it adapt. Maybe I'll see that much, but I don't know. I doubt it.
Got it. Okay. So Trials of Osiris is a 3v3 game. And so yes, one of the most important parts of being successful in that game is finding a couple of other people that you mesh with, that you can communicate with, that are on the same page as you. And I will say it always helps to have that one person on the crew who's just like a super crack sniper. They can stand in like the upper left-hand corner of the map and snipe people if they see like a pixel of their head from 400 yards. I still to this day do not know how some people do that. They could just snipe people cross map, and it's just amazing. So
yeah,
how'd you find your team?
I guess trial and error.
Okay.
Like on console, the clan that I was in on console, they all did recovs before me. So when I go back to console, they're always running recovs, and I just kind of hop in when they have a free spot and kind of take over and play with them. And because I did tourneys and stuff with them on console, we've played together enough that we all kind of know our play style. Like it seems pretty. And to me, console is not even comparable to PC, because console I rarely reset a card. On PC sometimes I'm struggling,
Yep.
So to me it's just easier, and if my team's not available, like I think I know enough of the console people that do recovs that I can even just post on Twitter that I need somebody, and then people that I know will reply. Very rarely will I, unless they're friends of friends, and somebody's vouched for them, very rarely will I just pick up somebody random to do a card, because like I'm not doing a carry sort of thing.
Right.
On PC, it was a little more difficult because I haven't played PC that long. Okay. So I don't really have a community in there. So it was just kind of trial and error.
Right.
And the team that I play with now, at first when I first started playing with them, because I had just moved to PC and I was pretty terrible, like it didn't go over very well.
Right.
But I think we've been playing together long enough now that I want to know how they play, even though I'm in the process of trying to perfect my M&K so I can try to shotgun more, because right now I snipe on controller. But I played a weekend on M&K and it didn't go too badly, but I'm not the best on M&K. Like I can't do a whole weekend of shotgunning. But it's hard because one of the other people I play with, they're snipers, and then having 2 snipers on a team and one person who's trying to shotgun doesn't really work most of the time. Okay. So I mean that's another thing too. You have to find kind of a mix of people that play well together, that get along, and then
Right.
they have kind of the same like if I'm sniping, then the other person can. I have two shotgunners or something like that.
Got it. And okay, so you said when you're trying to find your trying to find your group to play with, it was more trial and error.
Yeah.
So sort of talk to me about one of the times that it wasn't about one of the times that was bad. It wasn't error and didn't come through. Was it just one of those things where you one of those things where you played a couple games and you realized, yeah, this is not going to work. We don't mesh, or was it more of a toxic situation for you?
No, it's more like, um, okay, for instance, I have a friend he's a friend of mine, and he's, very, very nice, and he tries to help me out.
Right.
And on console, he's like me, he's got console and PC, and he's a really good player, and we play exactly the same.
Okay.
Like, we peek the same lanes. We literally trip over each other and get in each other's way the
Wow.
entire time. And it's like we can't play together because we just like I'll accidentally slide and push him out, and he'll slide and push me out, and we're literally on top of each other the entire time. And I like love him to death, and I love playing with him, but I don't play trials with him anymore because I just can't. It doesn't work out like that. But as far as like a kind of toxic situation, not really, because I don't really care too much. Like,
Got it.
if I'm playing and somebody's like, I guess the thing for me is that if somebody's being really negative, like if we're losing a lot and somebody's being really negative,
Right.
it's I get down on myself. So it's hard for me to play with people like that, but I don't really care too much. I'll just mute them and I'll turn my music on, or I'll turn Twitch on my other monitor and just not pay attention, sort of thing. I don't really care too much about that.
Yeah. And so for you personally, it's pretty obvious that the obviously Destiny 2 PvP community is mostly guys. Do you find that you have to deal with anything differently because you're you're a female?
Um, yes. A cup. Well, so some of the times I will like post that I need help with, I need somebody to run a card or something, and then somebody will respond, and I'll know they're good, and then they get in the party, and then they're, after that, then they'll message me and try to hit on me and stuff like that. And I'm like, I
Right.
really hope that's not the reason that you ran that card with me, because I could have just got somebody else to do it. Like, I'm
Right.
not going to sit here and, entertain this idea and flirt with you just so you help me run cards. Like, that's not what I'm going to do. So then
Right.
I
Right.
never I never play with them again, sort of thing, because that's not, I understand that it's guys and girls and you can't help, like, sometimes you're going to be attracted to some people or whatever, something like that. But that shouldn't be the reason that you're offering to help me, because I'm not going to accept that help. Like, I don't feel comfortable with that.
Got it.
So there's that situation. And then also the other situation is a lot of the times people will not play with me because I'm a girl. And
Holy crap.
yeah, like they
Wow.
won't play with me because they don't think that I'm good because I'm a girl. And I've never played with them before. So I don't know how. And a lot of the times, like not definitely not on PC. Like I'm not sitting here saying on PC I'm carrying people, but when I'm playing on console, um like I'd say half the games, I top frag my team.
Right.
So it's not like I'm getting carried while I'm doing a recov. Maybe sometimes on PC, sure, because I'm not very good against cheaters. Like I need somebody to help me. But
Right.
on console, no. And I played console long enough. But even still on console, a lot of the people won't play with me. And then it's funny because I'll be on a recov and we'll match them, and then we'll win, and they won't know that it's me that just beat them.
Right. Right. Right.
And then the next week I'll need help with a recov, and then they'll say they won't play with me because I'm a girl. But I'm like, I matched you last weekend and I beat you, so I don't understand like why, you don't want to play with me.
Right.
I whatever.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that because there's in any community of people that are skilled like that. There's a sort of a situation where 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 everybody sort of knows everybody, right? Where if you're not sure who somebody is, you have a friend you can ask that might know that person. And so, for you, when you were playing console and now you're moving to PC, what was the point where you realized where you have done enough, you're good enough, you've grown your skills enough? Was the a point that you realize that you have the respect of the people around you?
I don't know if I have the respect of the people around me. I don't know if I put it that way. Like a lot of people in the community, and majority is because, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good I am.
Okay.
They're just because I'm a girl. They're not. I don't know if you're allowed to say the word. I'm sure like simp is Twitch on TOS, but
fine.
a lot of the time, or on Twitch it's TOS. Did I say it backwards? Anyway. But a lot of the times, like, okay, so in those Discords I was talking about, I'll post that I need somebody, and then somebody will reply and say, like, yeah, I got a recub, and then some other guy, random person, will reply and be like, don't simp. And I'm like, how is he simping? Because we both need to get recubs done.
Right.
Like, just because I'm a girl, so I don't know that I necessarily, like, have the respect. Okay. But I think I'm old enough to not care. Like, I don't care if some random kid on the internet is gonna, you know, say that somebody's simping because they want to play with me, or if they want to say that I get carried through my recubs. Like, I don't care. At the end of the day, I get recubs and I get them done. So whatever. But,
Got it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if there's like a point where I realized, like, I think it just kind of grew into that. Like I said, I started streaming, and when I started streaming, it was PvP, and I just would kind of stream like me doing comp or something like that, and then people would want to either play with me, or a lot of the times when I first started streaming, I would do 1v1s, and a majority of the time, I think there was 3 days in a row when I did 1v1s on console, and I only dropped one game. Like, I only lost to one person that wanted to play against me.
Wow.
And a lot of it's funny too, because it's a lot of the tourney players, they wanted to 1v1 me because, you know, they like to think that they're better than me, and they got mad when I beat them.
Right.
But then from there, I started, when Trials came back, obviously I started streaming Trials and then just doing raffles to try to help people. And that at the time was really easy. Like, helping people when Trials came back was really easy. And then it just kind of transitioned to recubs because I am not doing carries anymore. Like, I'm not going to sit there and, first of all, like, I feel like doing carries on stream is like thankless because it is a lot of work, especially right now. I don't know how people do it, honestly. I don't know. You couldn't pay me, but I just guess it just kind of transitioned because I was like, I don't want to do carries anymore. And I heard that there was like good money in recubs. I wasn't sure how I was going to get them because a lot of the people, they are on those sites that you're talking about. Like, most people go on those sites. And the thing, I guess, with those sites is they normally don't pay. I think when you start on those sites, you make $10 a card when you start, and then you can make up to $15 a card. So that site is taking like a large portion of money too.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And it's you face this all the time in Trials. It's been getting worse and worse as Trials stays in the game when it comes to cheaters. I mean, it's really obvious, and there are streamers out there. There are YouTubers. That's part of the reason that they've grown to the point they are, is that they find cheaters and they sniff them out and they call them out. How fast can you spot a cheater?
I mean, on PC, it's pretty safe to go into a match and assume at least one of them is cheating, and that's not even a joke. Like, that's not an exaggeration.
Okay.
most of the time, obviously you pull up their stats when you match them, you check the roster, you pull up their stats. And if anybody has, unless they've only played like 3 or 4 games, and their KD is really high, if they've played like already say like 20 matches that week and they have a KD over a 2, most likely they're cheating.
Okay.
Um, you can check on Trials Report, like it'll tell you their percentages of headshots and stuff like that.
Yep.
But most cheaters are pretty conscious of that, and they will purposely keep their percentages down. So
Okay.
normally, if you kind of look at them and their percentage is around, like, say 80, which is pretty high, but it's not impossible to have like an 80% headshot with a sniper sort of thing.
Okay.
Normally you like to really tell, you check the match history in each individual match, because if they're smart enough, they will mostly hit bodies and stuff like that, so their overall percentage won't be too high. But then say they match a team that's really good and they're losing, and they just turn it up all the way and they get like 10 snipes that game at 100%.
Right.
Like, that's pretty easy to tell, like, okay, that person is cheating, sort of thing. And then I guess the thing is if that happens, you go into a match assuming that they're cheating.
Right.
And then it's pretty obvious, like, it's pretty obvious if you come around a corner and that person that you think is cheating is already waiting for you and they snipe you right away. Like, okay, then they're cheating, sort of thing.
Right. Wow. And see, I'm not, like I said at the start, I'm not a full-on PvP sweat. I will dabble from time to time, but I enjoy Destiny 2 for things that aren't PvP. So I'm more than willing, like I said at the start, I'm more than willing to have you do some of this stuff for me, because not only do I get, I get the armor and the weapons out of it, but and this is an issue that I think that a lot of people, it's not people that don't talk about, is where is the money going? Why are you spending it? How is it helping somebody? I am more than willing to help somebody like yourself who's way more skilled than I am, but you also have the bills you have to pay. You're going to school to finish your degree. You have your dog that you're trying to take care of. You have a family that you just don't see very often. And so you're sort of like in this little world, and there are people out there who do it just for the money, and there's no other reason behind it. And I guess that's sort of like a roundabout way of being, I guess, more, how am I phrase this? It's kind of couched in the terms of being morally superior in a way, but I guess the question is, in the end, does that matter?
Yeah, I mean, some people, this is their job, and just because they don't have, they're not trying to get a degree and they don't have a dog with cancer, doesn't mean that
Right.
this isn't a job for them. I guess the only thing is that, like, I really hope that this isn't somebody's career choice. Like, you're not going to
Okay.
get very far in life if this is all you do, sort of thing. But I think, like, for people who are doing it on the side, like while they're trying to decide what to go to school for and stuff like that, like,
Sure.
a lot of my friends that do recovs, they're like really nice people and stuff like that. So I mean, just because I have a cause doesn't mean that what they're doing is wrong. The only time I think it's wrong, like, to me, I don't really like the idea of somebody working for a site and making, less than 50% of what people are paying. Like, I don't think that's fair. And of course, like, because, they're younger and probably have never had a job and stuff like that, like, to them, it doesn't seem kind of like anything. But I, and then too, like, I don't respect people that, cheat, get recovs, and then
Right.
just cheat and just destroy, like, anybody else's chances of going flawless because they're trying to make $30 too. Like, to me, if you're gonna do it, at least do it legit, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
don't destroy like I've kind of changed, this might sound bad, but I've kind of changed my opinion on like there's so many people cheat. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like last weekend, there's multiple times where I've done a card and every single game I've played has been against cheaters.
Wow.
Like more than 50% of the time I play cheaters. Like everybody cheats. And to me, the cheaters that piss me off are the ones where like we're about to beat them and then all of a sudden they're like, well, we can't lose this, and turn it up 100%.
Right.
And then to me that's like, I'm not cheating, so how is that fair? I guess the thing is if you are cheating and you match other people that are cheating and you want to cheat against each other, go ahead. Like I don't care.
Right.
But if I'm trying to do this legit and you're gonna lose because I'm just a better player than you and then you turn it up, like that pisses me off. Because you shouldn't be doing recubs at that point. Like the only reason that you're getting them done is because you're cheating. You shouldn't be doing them. And to me, that's kind of where I draw the line.
Got it. Well, Miss Katie, this has been a very, very interesting conversation. I always like to look into the culture of other pieces of gaming. Like I said, I'm not a PvP sweat. I don't spend a lot of time in that space, but it's always a really fascinating conversation to hear from somebody like yourself who spends that's what you do. You don't raid, you don't play Gambit, you don't do the sandbox. You just run around PvP and shoot people. So it's been a really fantastic conversation. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, perhaps to pay for your services, how do they do that?
Mostly on Twitter. It's Miss_KDLH on Twitter, and that's normally like every weekend when the loot comes out, I'll make a post saying what the loot is and to message me if you're interested in it. And every weekend I'm doing recaps. So
got it. There. Yes, and you'll see that right there on the overlay. You see her Twitch URL, twitch.tv/Miss_KDLH, at Miss_KDLH on Twitter, like she said. Thank you very much for making time for me today. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Please do like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Head over to my Subscribe Star. You'll see that link below. Lots of interesting things coming there, including a different version of my podcast that I do with some of my friends and some of the people that I know very, very well. We get into really deep conversations. Sometimes we say bad words and we're gonna scream at each other about stuff, but you'll like that. Head over to my Subscribe Star. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in today. You can find links to everyone on the show in the description below. Check out Bill the Conqueror on Twitch and Twitter to stay up to date on his thoughts and ideas about gaming culture.